When you go through boot camp, you were thinking that this is probably the worst experience that I had in my life, or at least one of the top three. And you would be correct, especially at Marine boot camp. I remember going and I remember it being tough. I remember it being hard, but I easily went through it because I prepared myself physically beforehand, just coming off of a year of me being a senior in high school, going to state and track 3 years in a row. And even mentally, I was there, but I cried multiple times to get through it. Not because of what I was doing, but because it's what some of my battle buddies were doing. But that's where the toughness of the Marine Corps ends. Because unfortunately, once you get done with MCT, which is Marine Combat Training, after MLS school, and once you get in the fleet or to your unit, whether you're in the reserve, it gets very, very soft. Before we begin, I'm Forward March TV, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you listen because I have a lot of military videos that will be coming out because I just feel like I have to say something that people won't say. But now that I'm out, I have to address the fact that the Marine Corps was indeed soft. It really was. In fact, in the Marine Corps, you worry more about what you look like versus how you do your job. It was very Karen-ish. Now, for the ones that don't know what is a Karen, I will explain. But before I explain, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and leave a like on the video if you like it as well. Now, let's get back to it. So, a Karen is a Generation Z slang term typically used to refer to an upper middle class white American woman who is perceived as entitled or excessively demanding. Now, for the Marines, it's that last part, excessively demanding. It is bad. They always care about you can't have your hands in your pockets, how long your hair is. They want to know what your PT score was. They want to know why you're on your phone even though you weren't doing anything. They want to know so much that has little to do with your job performance and more of just being, oh, I'm a sergeant, or I'm a staff sergeant, or I'm a gunnery sergeant. You listen to me, and even though nothing I say makes sense, I still want you to do it anyway. It was bad. And even when I became an NCO, once I hit corporal, it was just a whole lot better. But even with me being a lance corporal, I was just thinking to myself, and the funny thing is, it wasn't really me at all. It was the motor T guys that got it the worst, at least in my unit. They got it bad. Those guys were getting, I can't even say it, but it was bad. I remember it would just be little things. Like they didn't even do, like you getting yelled at for the smallest things. And I know somebody's going to say, well, you have to be war ready. First of all, newsflash, everybody in every job has to be ready for anything that can happen, whether it's a federal agent job, whether it's an NFL job, whether you're a Secret Service, CIA, a police officer as I am. It doesn't matter. It's to the point you have to be in it, and then you have to become a civilian, and then you will see what I mean. You can be war ready and not worry about what a couple was doing when it comes to them holding their hands. Yes, it would be people holding their hands and they'll be like, oh, you can't hold your hands. That doesn't look professional in uniform. Like, how does that not look professional in uniform? Or how does it bother you to that point to where you have to say something about it in public? Like, oh, you can't hold your wife's hand in uniform. It makes zero sense. It really does. Like, it makes zero sense. No other branch does that, and also like any other federal job doesn't do that. It's really funny too because people that are at active duty, they swear that everything makes sense, but when you get out and you get another job, you realize nothing you did makes sense, or even people that were in realize it makes sense. And that's why the Marine Corps has a 1 in 4 retention rating, which means out of the first enlistment contract, only one person rejoins out of the 4 people that were in. That is bad. That right there should say something, and it's always the same. The rules were stupid, or I just got sick of it, or I outgrew it. Now notice the retention rate for all the other branches are a whole lot better, which means it is a Marine Corps issue. It is. It simply is. And when I became a police officer, I will say one thing, and you can say whatever you want, but it is the truth. I have got in way more fights. I have pulled out my gun way more times, or my service weapon way more times. I have dealt with way worse than any Marine that has been in for the last 10 years has ever seen in their life. And my span of 5.5 years as a police officer versus Marines who have been in for 10 to 15 years, unless you was infantry, and by infantry, not even infantry, but unless you just saw combat, unless you actually had to use your weapon, I have seen more action in 2 years than they have in 10 years. So I'm not going to have any pity, or I'm not going to worry about people in the comment section saying, oh, you're just not war ready. You won't be war ready having your hands in your pockets. You won't be war ready. It makes zero sense. It really does. Even the gas mask thing is really stupid. Like, you have to be shaved. First of all, there's already multiple studies, and just me personally, there's firefighters as well. There's other people, there's special agents as well who have beards like myself and use face gas masks like myself and as work properly. Now you can say uniformity, but at the end of the day, I'm not buying that either, because a lot of people don't even look the same. Nobody looks like the other person unless you're a twin. So the uniformity thing doesn't even make sense. Uniformity means you're uniform, because your hair is not going to be the same texture, your skin is not going to be the same, your eyes aren't going to be the same, your nose is going to be the same as anybody else. So that beard rule is not even a good rule, to be honest. And I get it though, some people are going to abuse the rule. I get it, but the fact is, in the Marine Corps, it is a lot of Karens. It is a lot of people that didn't have any power before they got in there, and then they got in there and made it worse for everybody else. Yeah, there are some cool people in the Marines, there are, but there are a lot of people in the Marines who just act so dumb. They really do. And I'm just saying it how it is. There are. Now, for the good ones who, like myself, a lot of us get out. We're that 3 that got out, okay? It's just what it is. We wanted to find something better. We want to get treated like adults, and it is what it is. Now, at the end of the day, it was a good experience. It helped me out. It helped me become a better man. I'll never forget that. Once a Marine, always a Marine. But every positive outcome usually will see a negative outcome. There's always a cause effect, yin and yang. So nothing is always good, and there's nothing that's always bad. But right now, I just had to be honest and just say that the Marine Corps is soft. There's too many rules. There's too many unnecessary reasons to why there is that rule or why there is that policy, in fact. But, something has to change. It really does, because it's just not as tough as I thought it was when I was going into the Marine Corps. I thought it was going to be like this tough. Oh yeah, Rod. Yeah, we get to fight all the time and stuff. No, you fight, you get an article, you get negative paperwork. You can't even fight. So, again, don't let TV fool you and just thinking Marines are just big and bad. They're always fighting. They're always ready to shoot some stuff up. I'm going to be honest with you, that's not true at all. That's really not. A lot of Marines aren't ready to fight. A lot of Marines aren't big. A lot of Marines are skinny too. Because of our rules, we have strict guidelines of how big you can be, at what height you can be. So a lot of Marines aren't big, they aren't muscular. So it's not even fair to even say, oh, the Marine Corps is strong. No, in the Marines, we have endurance. We're not strong per se. The Army would be strong, but we're not strong. We just have a lot of endurance. But I'm just going a long rant. But yeah, that's why I just think the Marine Corps is soft. But if you have any other discussions that you would like to talk about, put in the comment section below. I will read it, and put in the comment section as well why you think I'm wrong or why do you think I'm right. I would like to hear what you got to say.